You know, sometimes we get too caught up in the whole this game is good, this game is bad conversation. You let your emotions get the best of you and you end up overvaluing or undervaluing something. And people disagree about things all the time. There's games I say are good that people tell me are actually bad. There's games I say are bad that people tell me are actually good. So we can disagree. We don't have to like all the same stuff and share every viewpoint. These are just video games we play. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. Isn't it all just opinion anyway? But things are different today, playing the latest title from the studio that made Prey. Surely the values of that studio are here to stay. Quality standards they simply wouldn't betray. I mean, $70 they want me to pay. But for a broken, confused effort like this? No way, Jose. How could they? Buffet Chevrolet. So here we are, Redfall. We've all heard about how bad it is, and as a huge fan of Prey, as someone who admires Arcane Studios, all I have to say is, Jesus Christ. I honestly can't remember the last time I played something that was this bad. Their last game, Deathloop, that made my worst of the year list, but it wasn't this bad. Outriders, that was pretty bad, but I remember actually having fun occasionally, despite the game trying its hardest not to let me. I just can't remember the last time something was this bad. And before we go any further, let me just say that this game requires an online connection for single player. It has a single player mode, yet does not let you play offline. So if you live somewhere with crappy internet service, or the service goes down for whatever reason, or there's a problem on Bethesda's end, fuck you apparently. So F, Redfall gets an F. People have different issues they care about where they draw the line. For some, it's anti-cheat software like Denuvo. For some, it's the presence of predatory microtransactions. For me, it's online only for single player. F. Do not buy this game. I don't care what game it is. If the next Doom game is online only, it'll get an F. On with the review. I heard a lot of people say Forspoken was awful, but I didn't play Forspoken. I don't play every game, and if there's something worse in recent years, then I didn't play it. All I can go on is my own experience, and my experience tells me this is the biggest piece of shit in a long time. Now, sometimes this channel gets accused of being a negative channel, usually by the people who only come here to watch negative videos. And sure, sometimes I go in pretty hard on a game I'm upset about, but I've done so much positive stuff. Recommendations, strategy videos and tutorials, interviews. This year I've only been negative about one title, the rest have been great. And I'm sorry to say that I have to add another negative to the list with Redfall, because it's what I'm gonna call unavoidably bad. A kind of bad that simply can't be ignored, and ends up becoming fascinating for several reasons. The history of the studio, the performance of the PC version, the AI, and the astonishing soullessness it displays are so impressive I can't look away. And yeah, I said soullessness, right after Cat got rightfully blown up for that video about how the RE4 remake was soulless. Hey, you want to see a game with no soul? Well, Redfall is as soulless as the vampires that inhabit its lifeless world. Do vampires have souls? I don't know, I hope that joke works. The world of Redfall is barely more alive than a demo built using free assets. It's a stale, barren wasteland of a world, failing to cause even the slightest spark of inspiration inside the player to save it. Why would I ever care about this place or what's going on here? The look of the game is just so dry and basic. Things are copy-pasted around the map, cars look like toy models, most buildings can't be entered, the effects are at times flat-out pathetic.
Sync. Oh, come on, what is that? What is that? What is this triangle?
The interactivity is a complete joke, as I'm shooting a car window that won't break, but shards of glass fly out anyway, confusing me, and then the car explodes and I die. And of course, there's this. Isn't that just the perfect clip to represent this game? The characters you play as are annoying, unrelatable, and uninteresting. The powers they possess are occasionally cool, and that's being generous. I got bored of my character's playstyle within a few hours and wanted to switch, but you can't. You gotta start over from the beginning if you want to experiment with other powers, and I'll be damned if I'm playing this game again. The characters you interact with are just people that talk at you, you don't actually converse with them, and of course you can only talk to them in certain moments. Then why is there a talk option at all times?
What? You too? Talk. Talk. If you grunt at me or cough, oh, I'm gonna be so pissed.
Hi. What's up?
Mm-hmm.
Hi. What's up? Hi.
Talk!
The cutscenes are bland and boring, still scenes with a color filter and a moving camera, just the most minimal amount of work you could imagine. And I don't need fully animated cutscenes, just give me some fun comic book panels, that's all I need. Look at Metal Hellsinger, or Twisted Metal 2 from 1996. You can tell a story with a few drawings. The weapons are weak and unsatisfying to shoot, and the colored rarity loot system is tired, cliché, forced, and desperate. Having only 3 weapon slots makes it extremely tedious to experiment, because the game overloads you with weapon choices way too early. In just a few hours I've got like 20 guns and all these rarity types. It's exhausting. You can sell them for cash if you want, but there is no mass sell option or a way to select multiple guns, so you have to sell each gun individually. Great! The music sounds like free demo tracks found in Fruity Loops in 2009. I can't remember the last time I criticized a game's music, but it's one of the worst parts of Redfall. The story is far from captivating, with an over-reliance on note reading to get a sense of what's going on. And the mission design, good lord. I tend to give open world games a lot of crap, not because I hate the genre, but because they tend to be so lazy in their mission design. 9 out of 10 missions is just go fetch this thing that my wife dropped in the forest, or go find the doohickey to power up the generator. It usually sucks. Where are all the creative missions? Like I said in my Halo Infinite review, why are all the missions the same thing? Where's the mission where you have to organize an assault on a shipping line and steal something and get it back to the base while under fire? Where's the fun stuff? In Redfall, there is no fun stuff. Just take this guy's watch to the cemetery and put it on a tombstone. Go get something out of the trunk of a car. Take this thing over here. Go get this other thing. Find 3 things in a house and put them somewhere. How many times are we gonna do this? It would be excusable if the action during those missions were exceptional. Unfortunately, it's far below even being acceptable. The AI in this game is so bad. It makes Deathloop's AI look smart, and they were dumb as rocks. Here it's so much worse. Just shocking degrees of stupidity. Getting stuck on chairs, being stuck inside geometry, not being able to run around cars, changing targets in mid-fight and running towards your partner as you shoot them in the back. All the enemies in the first parts of the game where you're supposed to be learning can just be run around and meleeed to death. Or not even that, just spam melee.
Mayo, it's your own fault. If a game is boring, you're choosing to play it boring. You should go in trying to have fun.
Luckily that doesn't last as the game progresses, but once the combat gets more involved, it doesn't get much more interesting. Human AI mostly just stand around waiting to be killed, and vampires just have you running backwards until you do enough damage. Not that hard to do in a world that's totally open like this. Eventually you'll start getting attacked by more than you can handle by playing basically, and you might think, hey, maybe I need to play smart for once. No, because the game actually saves your kill progress when you die, because the game is supposed to be played co-op. And the way it's set up is that you can kill a few enemies, die, respawn at the nearest safe house with full health, run back to the area, and pick up where you left off. Infinitely, until everyone is dead. Just bang your head against the wall until everyone's dead, because nothing matters. You're not losing lives, you're not losing experience points or currency. Who cares? The game is made for morons, so keep respawning until the mission is done, I guess. No need to strategize or actually come up with a good battle plan. Just keep respawning until you win. And when you do win, there's nothing in the world to interact with to keep the game flowing. You don't get a phone call or meet someone in the street or rescue someone that has a tip or somehow come across a new mission naturally. No, after a mission, you gotta go back to the fire station or safe house to pick your next main mission or side mission and then go do that one thing. It is agonizing. The map is borderline incomprehensible because everything looks the same, there's no radar as you're moving about, there's no indication of map geometry like what's higher or lower, there's no individual maps of buildings you enter, and while you can set one waypoint for your compass to follow, for some reason the main objective you're following isn't shown on the compass. You have to go into the map and manually set a waypoint on the main mission objective that you're doing. So if you end up wanting to check something else out, you gotta take the waypoint off the main objective and put it on something else, and then reset it when you're done. Who designed this game? And have they never played Prey from this same studio, where you could easily cycle through your objectives in the menu, enable several of them if you wanted, and track them automatically? And in a shocking display of disrespect to their players, the icon on the one waypoint you can set, the only point to follow on your compass, actually says "Go here." Like, how dumb do they think we are? How are you gonna put "Go here" on an objective marker? Why not go all the way and add "Hold up to move forward and advance towards the waypoint"? There's a lot of examples of this game assuming the absolute worst in you and thinking everything has to be explained. Now, I'm not against tutorials and pop-ups, I'm really not. When you're introducing a new ability or showing people an important game mechanic that many people aren't used to, I'm fine with it. But we don't need the concept of stealth explained to us, and we most certainly don't need the concept of guns explained to us. There's a tutorial prompt that actually tells you that using cover will not help you against enemies that use melee attacks. If an enemy is trying to use melee attacks, you should try to stay away from them so you can shoot them. I'm at a loss for words.
They're telling me that to fight a melee enemy with a gun, I should back up?
When I started Redfall, the first thing I noticed was this. This is water in a AAA video game from 2023. Somehow, someone in charge looked at this and decided this was okay to have in the first room. And hey, maybe they just wanted to be honest right away. Like, don't expect anything better than this, because the quality of pretty much everything in the game is equal to this water puddle here.
What is this? What is this texture? Is this supposed to be water? What the fuck? That is a really, really bad sign.
The moon in the night sky looks terrible and was somehow not even visible to my partner in the same party as me. If anyone in your party leaves or gets booted, the entire match is abandoned and you go back to the menu. There is no matchmaking, no searching for open games to join, just host or play solo. And if you join a friend to play in their campaign, none of your progress is saved, you gotta replay it later yourself. And there's all kinds of little things on top that make this game worse moment to moment. There's no input buffering while using a skill, so if you press the weapon you want to use after the skill, it doesn't come out. When you find a remnant that boosts your HP and gives you a stat bonus, there's no way to compare it to the one you currently have equipped, so you don't know if you should equip it or not. You gotta open the menu and go find the one you have, which is an extra step that's so unnecessary. And of course, there's the performance. I can't speak to console, but it doesn't surprise me that Redfall locked itself to 30 FPS on launch, because I doubt it can handle more. On PC, it has been a truly awful experience. Running at just 1080p on medium settings, I could barely get 45 frames per second on a 2070 Super and AMD 3900X. Sure, not top of the line, but certainly not a bad setup. 1080p at medium should be running just fine, and it isn't. And looking around, I don't understand what could be causing such horrible performance issues. The game looks like shit, why is it running this poorly? Why does changing the mouse sensitivity randomly cause me to approach single-digit frame rates? There's texture flickering all over the place, light coming through metal grates or bouncing off leaves. The shaders, man, it looks so bad. It's not a high graphics setting thing either. I tested it. Turning off DLSS helps, but it doesn't eliminate the issue. Some places still look really bad. Whenever I'm in combat, the frame rate tanks, and I just can't hit the targets. There's so much stuttering, and I can't aim appropriately. And the performance really isn't the biggest problem. If you fixed the performance and it ran at a buttery smooth 120 frames, it wouldn't matter. The design of Redfall is fundamentally flawed, and the AI is atrocious. And what really sucks is you can see the good ideas here. Some of the abilities can be fun. There are moments of weapon synergy where I used my umbrella push to stun a vampire, then do a lot of heavy damage, and used the damage stun state to pull out a stake launcher and finish him. Like, something cool could have been done with this, if they had played into their strengths as a studio and not forced out this dumb open world looter shooter crap that no one wants. I will not finish Redfall. I just can't bring myself to do it. I did it for Deathloop, and I regret it. And I hate this way more than Deathloop. I'm already trying to avoid as much combat as possible because it's so bad. Why would I continue with that? I can already feel that this game isn't going to get much better, and I'd rather play something I like. I tried to go back to it on day 2, and I just stared at the map and said, ugh, I can't do this. Arcane, guys, just close if this is what you're going to produce. Stop wasting our time, stop wasting your own time. It's painfully obvious that this isn't the kind of game you want to make. It's like a desperate cry for help. We hear you, Arcane, we can help you. How many hostage takers are in the building right this moment? If there's more than 5, say lunch in your next sentence. Alright guys, sorry I'm not going into more about this game, it's just bad. It's been documented by everyone at this point, and while I wasn't particularly excited for it, I wanted to be surprised. I find the story of Arcane Studios to be fascinating, how they can go from Dishonored and Prey to Deathloop and Redfall. Bad name, by the way. It does not feel like a finished game, it does not feel like a game that people actually wanted to make, and the $70 price tag makes the whole thing feel like a scam. This kind of work should not be encouraged. Redfall should be delisted, all customers should be refunded, a massive apology should be issued, and the entire game should be forgotten.